third solution area is backup and disaster recovery, or backup and replication. And you may be thinking, well, I've heard backup. That's easy, that's simple, but what's disaster recovery? And in the strictest terms, backup is essentially creating a copy of some sort of data and storing that copy somewhere safely so that if your initial version gets damaged, I can restore from that copy. Now, disaster recovery is typically a bit wider in its scope. It usually means a set of processes, plans, documentation, and tools that are designed to help me minimize the amount of time that one of my applications is down if an incident occurs. There are processes, plans, tools, etc. that are designed to help me get this application that suffered an incident up and running as soon as possible. But for our purposes, we're going to be looking at two specific tools. The first is Azure Backup, and that's Microsoft's tool for providing image-based backup for your servers. Now, image-based backup is exactly what it sounds like. It's as if we took a picture of your server and stored it in the cloud. And if something happens to your actual server, we can download that picture, restore it over whatever is on that server, and get it back up and running. Now, it's important to note that Azure Backup requires a server to actually put that picture on. I need a system to actually run this image and to restore this image. Azure Site Recovery, in contrast, takes a replica of your server. And what that means is that it's not just going to take a snapshot of the content, but it's also going to look at how many gigs of RAM your server has, what number of CPU cores it has, and it's going to map that to a virtual machine size. And I can tweak that around and help in choosing the correct size. Now, what that does is that if my initial server goes down, and it's not just the image, the picture of my server that's damaged, but the physical server. I suffered a fire. There was a gigantic power surge, and it shorted out my servers. Azure Site Recovery can actually create a full working copy of that server in the cloud. And it can help you connect your on-premise environment to that working copy in the cloud so that you can continue operating. What's more, once you've fixed your on-premise environment and are ready to continue operating from your on-premise environment, Azure Site Recovery can help you fail back. And so all the changes, all the work, all the processes that have been run on that cloud server would automatically come back, or would be able to be brought back to that server that you've now fixed on-premise. And of course, understanding how backup can help your organization is fairly straightforward. You will improve resilience, protect yourself against unplanned downtime, against data loss, against ransomware threats. Now, Azure Site Recovery and Azure Backup also implement very, very well with data protection tools and policies. They both have built-in encryption. They both have built-in configurations for retention policies. They both can enable things like soft delete, so there's an additional layer of protection if someone deletes one of my backup. And one thing that may be interesting is that it may help you reduce costs as well, because there may be some devices that you're running on-prem, say for long-term storage of backups and archival, maybe tape storage, that you may be able to eventually eliminate by running some of these tools. You may also be able to automate some tasks like performing test restores or performing test failovers for that replication. And that may help reduce your employee overhead in terms of actually managing these solutions. So again, what's the damage going to be? What's it going to cost me? Well, let's look at both solutions here for, say, two servers with around 500 gigs of data. And so for Azure Backup, those 500 gigs of data will cost me around $50 a month. For Azure Site Recovery, it's going to cost me $25 per server, so it's about $50. And we're also considering some bandwidth costs. Now, interestingly, Site Recovery and Backup bandwidth is actually free when we download it. So this bandwidth line that you see here is actually a little mistake for me. So we can ignore those 760. We do, however, still need that VPN gateway specifically for Azure Site Recovery, because if my on-premise server goes down and I'm now running from the cloud, then I need that cloud to be able to see my Office environment. So I'll need that VPN gateway. So this cost is actually about $8 lower, so we'd be looking at about $124 for this solution. Of course, you don't have to deploy both of the solutions. You can pick and choose, and you can see the cost for each one of them here.